Hi, my name is Louise.
And hi, I'm Emma.
And you're listening to Murder or Myth,
the true crime podcast where not everything is true.
The aim of the game is to find out whether the story is actually a murder or if it's just a myth.
Now, let's get started. Hi Louise, how are you this week?
I'm good this week, Emma. Thank you for asking. How are you?
I'm very good. I'm happy to get out our 32nd episode. Can you believe it?
I can't believe it, actually.
We're so far into it now. No stopping us.
Yeah, that's the fear.
So this week's episode is about the story of the Chowchilla kidnapping.
Chowchilla. Is that the surname?
No.
Okay.
That's the area.
Okay.
So the story is set in California in 1976, apologies.
Okay. 1976.
Read that wrong. 1976. In a rural farm area called Chowchilla.
Okay.
So it's the summer and there's a group of summer class children heading home from their local pool. There was 26 children on a bus ranging from...
I was having a hard time talking
I think-
today.
Yeah, I might get that checked out.
Need that checked out. It's just...
Why can't... I don't know. Okay.
It's probably just tiredness.
Okay, hopefully.
Yeah.
Okay. There was 26 children on the bus ranging from 5 to 14 years old. They were being dropped home by their bus driver Ed Ray. So it's around 4 p.m. when the bus leaves the pool and drops off 2 kids on the route home. Shortly thereafter, the bus comes to a T-junction where Ed spots a broken down white van. So it being a very rural area, Ed decides to stop and he opens the door to the bus because he thinks it's like one of his neighbours, someone local. It's in the middle of nowhere, so he wouldn't suspect anything. Immediately, 3 men with tights on their faces board the bus. One man with a sawed-off shotgun takes Ed to the back of the bus, while the second man drove the bus away. The third man followed the bus in the white van, which was not broken down. They drove to a flat area of a nearby river, where they had 2 modified vans waiting. So the gunmen loaded the children and Ed into the back of the 2 vans, splitting them into 2 groups. Each van had the windows blacked out, and were retrofitted with soundproofing and wooden panels with no insulation or ventilation. So the 3 drivers took the vans and drove them for 12 hours before they stopped. They had no breaks or food or water or anything. Then the kidnappers removed each child one by one from the van. The ones in the van had no clue what was happening, and the ones didn't know if they were being taken to get killed or what.
Okay. So
now it's about 4 a.m, and all the children and Ray could see were they were in a sandy area and just presumed the desert, all they knew was 12 hours from home. The kidnappers forced the children and Ray at gunpoint to enter a hole in the ground, and they climbed down a ladder and entered a box-shaped room that had mattresses, some makeshift toilets, and a bit of water and food, along with ventilation in the form of fans. They could only hear them and just assumed it was airflow.
Okay.
So it was pitch black, no electricity or whatever in the hole.
This is kind of terrifying.
Yeah, these stories aren't great. They're not meant to be. But anyways, the children and Ed could hear metal grate being kind of covered over the hole they entered in, and heard sound of dirt and gravel being filled over their heads. Ed and some of the other children began trying to scope out the room. One of the older lads was kicking a post in the corner of the room when it buckled away from the bricks that was holding it in place. The whole entire wall panel of the left side of the room fell in slightly, bringing dirt with it. The older kids and Ed decided they would begin to try and get out, seeing as though the place was kind of crumbling around them. Stacking the mattresses, they got one lad called Michael up to the hatch where they had entered. He eventually moved the hatch, exposing 2 truck batteries, which were on top of it previously. And these were in a small box-like structure on top of the hatch. He shimmied up and began breaking down the wood in the smaller room, and at around 8 p.m. on the 16th, July 16th, a ray of light broke down into the bunker. So Michael, along with help from the others, got all the kids out of the bunker. So they were in an area they didn't recognise, and they could hear nearby machinery. But they weren't sure if this was their captors or if it was...
Yeah, did they have food and water, did you say?
They had food and water in the bunker, not when they were in the vans.
Okay. Yeah.
So they decided as a group to walk up to that quarry where the sound of machinery was coming from. It was a quarry. So Ed walked the group up to the guard gate at the Livermore Rock Quarry. The guard contacted the police immediately, having heard of the group's disappearance earlier that day. The children and Ed were taken to their local police station, fed, watered and questioned before being released to their families. Meanwhile, the police had to find out who done the crime. They went to the bunker site where they found out that the construction that everyone was held in was actually a large van that was buried below the surface of the sand.
Oh my god.
So, figuring out that that's going to take ages, obviously, they began looking for suspects to do with the quarry. They found out that the quarry owner's son had previous offences of grand theft auto. So this lad was called Frederick Woods, and he committed the crimes with two brothers called James and Richard. They got a warrant for Frederick's home, and in there they found detailed plans written out on paper of the kidnapping and receipts for the vehicles used in the crime. Along with they found a ransom note that never made it to the police. 8 days after the whole ordeal, a warrant was put out for the rest of the 3 suspects, and 2 weeks after this, the 3 men were arrested. They all got charged with 27 counts of kidnapping and causing bodily harm, to which they got life in prison with no chance of parole. And that is the end of my story.
Like, what was the motive? I don't understand why they never did the ransom. Like, why would they just... There's so much effort in it.
The turnaround was so quick. They escaped only within a couple of hours of even being in captivity.
Okay. So they didn't have the chance to do the ransom.
Yeah, that's how it seemingly looked like. They didn't have a chance to get the ransom to the police.
Sorry, I kind of mistook. I thought they were down there for a little bit longer.
They were down 4 p.m. to 4 a.m. they got in. Oh, they were there for 16 hours, I suppose, but through the night.
Yeah. I
don't know, do you send ransom notes at night?
I'm gonna think that you can send a ransom note at any point. I'm not sure if there's like a good time to send one. I'm gonna guess that this is a murder.
I'm gonna guess. You're gonna guess murder?
Yeah.
Final answer?
Final answer.
Okay, yeah, it was a murder. Well done. They didn't send the ransom note because there's more details, but I was like, maybe if I pretend I don't know it, she'll think it's a myth. No, and they never posted the letter. Oh, sorry. They were ringing the police station, like basically the whole time they took the kids, but the phone lines were so busy with parents and other people looking for information that they couldn't get through.
Oh, damn.
And then they put them in the bunker, and then they were like, we're going to have a nap, because obviously it's 4 a.m. or whatever, and they just drove a bunch. And by the time they woke up, they freed themselves. So they were just really stupid criminals.
Yeah.
They kind of bungled the whole thing.
Yeah. What led me to say murder? The name at the start, kind of the way you said the Churchill kidnappings, it kind of sounded like that was a name.
Fair enough.
Because I just have Churchill kidnapping written down. And also just like, I'm not sure what the right word is to describe it, because it's not creativity, but like the creativity of thinking of all the details of like how they escaped the bunker with the batteries and stuff. It just seemed like
too many.
So strange, and so I also found that story just like horrific. So
but it's not like no one died, no one got hurt.
No, it's not. But also, yeah, I don't know. Something about the details of it. It was just like kind of a.
How can you take 27 people?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah.
They were kids, and that's why.
Yeah, there's
they
a lot
also
of
took them as well, because they said that kids don't fight back and they're precious, so people will pay money for them in terms of ransom.
Yeah, it's not a bad point, because at one point I was thinking, why didn't anyone fight back? Like, even the 14-year-olds and stuff, I guess, but I guess they're still much too weak.
They had their bus driver, but, like, I think a witness, they all survived, so, like, they went on a show, and one of the girls said that the bus driver, when he got put to the back of the bus and kind of was at gunpoint, he got really stern with the kids and told them not to do anything. So they were like, whoa, not our bus driver. Why is he angry? Like, this must be serious type thing.
Yeah. I guess also he was probably afraid to fight back because he needed someone to kind of watch them, I guess, to a certain degree. Like, help them escape and things.
Yeah.
And yeah, also, they're like, even a 14-year-old isn't going to be as strong as a fully grown man, so.
Yeah, so
that's
okay. That's the end of the story.
Well, thanks for listening. Make sure to like and subscribe.
On this week's episode, Louise correctly figured out my murder story was in fact a murder.
Find us on all streaming platforms.
Join us next week for another thrilling adventure.
Remember, it's myth until proven murder.
Slay.